Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from Ezra Miller to maybe somebody else sometime soon and everywhere in between. I'm one of your co-hosts, Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, as you mentioned, we may have reached a flashpoint in the DC casting universe. So that's about the biggest thing. You're rubbing off on me, man. It's about the first or the biggest thing that happened this week.
Yeah. So let's just launch right into it. If you couldn't tell from my intro there, Ezra Miller's future as the Flash may be in jeopardy. As we reported last week on our show, Ezra Miller was arrested in Florida for causing a disturbance and lunging at people and just
all sorts of craziness.
All sorts of craziness at a karaoke bar in Hawaii. He also apparently broke into somebody's place where they were staying and stole some of their stuff. They had to have a restraining order put against them. Sorry. I also I need to apologize. I believe we were referring to Ezra Miller as he last week, where he prefers they them pronouns.
Oh.
Sorry, they prefer they them pronouns.
Apologies
for that. Catching myself right now. And also apologies. My throat I have a bit of a cough going on today, so excuse me if my voice sounds a little rough. I've been coughing all day, and I'm sipping on some hot tea. But anyway, so we did report that last week, and we said that, hey, if they ever end up not playing Barry Allen anymore, they could just go with Wally West.
Right.
Or, there's been numerous flashes, those two being the most most well known. That might be entering the realm of possibility now, as Rolling Stone reported this past week that after Ezra Miller's arrest, there was a emergency leadership meeting at Warner Brothers to discuss what to do following Miller's arrest in Hawaii. And word is that Warner Brothers has suspended all future projects that were to include Ezra Miller as the Flash. Now, we don't officially know what those are past the Flash movie necessarily. Right. And this is troubling. Well, okay, I'll finish what the report. The report indicates that apparently Ezra Miller had quote unquote frequent meltdowns on the set of The Flash while it was filming. It wasn't necessarily like yelling or violent outbursts, but one crew member described them as quote unquote losing it, and would stop in the middle of scenes and admit that they didn't know what they were doing or something like that. So right. Not necessarily aggressive, but we've certainly seen them be aggressive in footage of him or them choking a fan a couple years ago that no one ever said anything about. And clearly this last in these incidents in Hawaii, not painting them in such a great light. So this is a bummer for many different reasons. One being that it is another big blow to DC's
right. The
live action
DCU
universe
in general, like how
getting off the ground, which we'd been clear of those for a long time. It's been a while.
It's like, things are finally starting to plug along. Like, all right, we're setting things up, we're moving, and then this happens.
We're making good movies. We're making strides.
Right.
Hey, Shazam is good. Birds of Prey is good. Aquaman is mediocre, but made $1 billion. Like things are going on.
Suicide Squad has got people great. Talking. Like
everyone loves Peacemaker. Like things, we're rolling here. We're making a Batgirl movie. We're making, we're greenlighting all these cool things.
Yep.
So that's a bummer. It's also, tangent, not Flash related necessarily, but still in the realm of nerdery. Ezra Miller is one of the stars of the Fantastic Beasts franchise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I believe one of those is about to open very soon.
Quite.
So that's a huge bummer for Warner Brothers. And yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating. I saw a lot of people online, and I can imagine that I guess a lot of these people were probably part of the Zack Snyder worshiping mindset.
Yep.
Kind of blaming Warner Brothers, saying like they let Ezra down when Ezra needed help, and they weren't there for them the same way they weren't there for Ben Affleck when he was like suffering doing. I was like, yeah, you should never count on a corporation to care about like an actor's mental health.
That's
really?
it's not really in
that's
there.
Not
it's
what
not
happened.
in the purview of like you're a giant multinational corporation that does film work. You're worried about putting out films, and you're a faceless entity. I get, yes, 100%. Should they have? Yes. Are they going to? No.
And I don't think that's Warner Brothers. I don't think Sony would have done anything. I don't think
absolutely.
Disney would have done anything. Like, this is a corporate, man. You signed a contract.
Mm-hmm.
You're there to make them money, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I didn't really understand that.
As a main piece of two of Warner Brothers' biggest franchises, the fact that they went through this is really it's a big blow to the studio in general. So it's going to be interesting to see where it all goes from this direction, and whether they can bring things back around, or whether this is the nail in the coffin for right. I mean, yes, this I think this is the culmination of a trilogy for Fantastic Beasts. So at least it would be a bow tied around it for what they're doing there. But for the Flash, that's a big shot. I mean, I know. Well, the only saving grace is, from like looking at it the flip side from the DCEU standpoint, the only saving grace is it is also the Flash that he's playing, or that they're playing. So if they want to, they being the studio wants to bring in someone new, you've got someone that's dealing with multiversal weird functioning things that Ezra Miller's Flash ran off into the whatever cosmos are over here, and hey, Wally West showed up. Great.
Right. I know. I think, did we say this last week? I bet they're super happy that they delayed the Flash movie.
Yeah, probably.
But, I'm sure that they're happy they delayed the Flash movie, because if they decide to somehow not move forward with Ezra Miller, they got time to kind of whip together, either re-edit it somehow so it ends differently without him, or give us a post-credit scene that introduces Wally West, or gets rid of Barry Allen. I mean, I saw a lot of people online also like immediately saying to replace Ezra Miller with Grant Gustin, who's played the Flash on the CW.
Right.
Not that I wouldn't like that, but I don't know. At this point, I feel like the Arrowverse is such a separate thing. I don't know. Not that I wouldn't like it, but I'd almost rather just see a Wally West version, for this continuity. Also, like, going back, this might be okay. I'll preface this. This might be a shitty thing to say because I don't have all the information. But I don't know that anyone has all the information besides Ezra Miller or people close to them. But I saw like saying, along the lines of people blaming Warner Brothers for saying, Ezra needed help and no one's there for him.
Right.
That no one's there for them. I haven't read any reports that officially saying that Ezra Miller is dealing with some kind of mental health issue. Like, it's possible that they're just a jerk, I guess. I don't know.
Hypothetically.
They could just be, I don't know. Maybe it's drugs. Maybe it's just bad attitudes. I don't know. We don't know. But I don't know. Again, rushing to like blame a corporation when it could just be someone that thinks they're, king shit when they're not. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. So it's hard to, without knowing the reasons and not knowing whatever, it's hard to say this person deserves to be replaced or deserves to be fired. But I mean, the behavior alone, I guess I'm going back on what I just said 10 seconds ago. I feel like the behavior alone, I feel like Warner Brothers has to suspend or part ways with Ezra Miller if they're going to continue to show this kind of behavior and do this kind of stuff. Then that's just, they can't afford, their brand can't afford it. That's Warner Brothers and DC and Wizarding World stuff. I feel like they can't afford to be like Wizarding World just got rid of Johnny Depp also, and that was becoming a troublesome.
Yeah, and Wizarding World has the whole umbrella over the top of them of what J.K. Rowling is.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention any of that mess.
Right. Noted.
So track record. Yeah, exactly. Track record of that franchise. Quality of the works notwithstanding, track record of the outside dealings of that franchise, not really that great. So
yeah,
I'm here also. I'm gonna put my foot down on another stupid Multiverse Report prediction.
Okay.
If they back away from Barry Allen, post-credit scene is them finding a way to speed a new Bart Allen in. Going straight to the grandson.
Going straight to grandson, you think? Wow. Maybe. That could be possible.
It just popped into my head. I have there's no evidence, no nothing, but it'd be an interesting way to take it.
I'm very impressed that you know about Bart Allen at all, being such a Marvel person as you are.
I think it was about 3 weeks ago I did some Flash research, so I went down that road. Went down the rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole. Again, I mean, as we've said a million times about this movie and about Multiverse of Madness, they are multiverse movies. Literally, they could show us anything, or they could do anything with them. And we don't know what's already planned for this movie. It's possible that they're introducing Wally West, or that they're introducing Bart Allen, or at least teasing that in some way. Like maybe he runs into the future. Maybe Flash runs into the future and sees his grandson, or sees him with a sidekick, down the road or something. And then if that happens, then it's an easy post-credit scene to further develop either of those ideas. But we don't know that they're doing that. But
so
if they do, they left some breadcrumbs for themselves to make this possible switch a little bit easier.
So my brain just connected dots. And it may actually be a good segue into our next topic, but if they opted for Bart Allen and went down the Young Justice pathway, it could lead into what our next topic is. Apparently, Charlize Theron is going to be producing an Aqualad series for HBO Max.
Yeah, I was going to tie it into these topics together in a similar way. So thank you, Steve. But yeah, DC, it's been said many times that DC, the DC is more about legacy than Marvel is. DC being, hero exist and develop a family like, Nightwing, right. Robin, Red Hood, Batgirl, spoiler, whatever, Bat family, Supergirl, Superboy, assorted other super family, Wonder Woman. There's like 3 different Wonder Girls and a bunch of other Amazons, like, and there's the banner character, but there's all these other characters that kind of like go underneath that banner.
Right.
Flash being certainly being part of that as well. Kid Flash, Bart Allen, a bunch of other speedsters, and Aquaman and Aqualad. There's 2 different Aqualads, and we're getting an HBO Max series about one of them, as you just said, produced by Charlize Theron. That's what's really throwing me for a loop here, because that just seems very, very random. How does she know
of
about
all
this?
People?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's definitely not the name you'd expect to sign on to an Aqualad series, or in general a Marvel DC superhero smash 'em up series. So,
and I mean, I love Charlize Theron. I think she's an incredible actress. I think she could do anything, and I would love to see her in some kind of comic book adaptation. She did a comic book adaptation, didn't she? What am I thinking? Are you
thinking of Fury Road? Because that wouldn't be.
No, I know she did Fury Road.
Was Hancock a comic?
I don't think that was an adaptation, though. I think that was just a straight up superhero movie.
Snow White and the Huntsman?
Is it Atomic Blonde? Is that a adaptation, or is that an original story?
Yep, based on the graphic novel Cold City. I just happened to have pulled up her Wikipedia, so that worked out well.
Perfect. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Hancock was too.
Was it really?
Yep.
I thought that was an original movie.
Oh no, it was an original. Okay, it was an original movie, original superhero film.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, I just see superhero film and assume it was an adaptation of something.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, like going back to the legacy thing, that's kind of what I was I think it would be cool, like a way for DC to continue to do their own thing, but also experiment with like crossovers and things like that. Not necessarily maybe doing team up Justice League movies or Avengers style movies, but if you make like, make a Batman movie and then you just make a cluster of other make a Batman universe,
Right.
Then make like a Flash universe and make an Aquaman universe. Like, why not? Like, why not just, and then eventually, yeah, sure, some of those characters can cross over, but like, I don't know. And maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe like, they have a new Batman movie and they've greenlit 2 spin-off series from that show. Like maybe that's kind of the direction they're heading in. They're going to put out a second Aquaman movie next year. And I mean, there's no date on this, but yeah, an Aqualad series.
Right.
Aqualad, I got to say, one of the unfortunately named sidekicks. Lad, like no one says the word lad anymore. You know what I mean? That's like,
if you're not British, yeah.
Yeah. Like Wonder Girl, Kid Flash still works. Robin, just like a whole other identity. So like that's fine too. But like Aqualad is like a little, that's leaning into the 1930s of it a little bit.
I don't think Jonathan Majors will play him, but you have Iron Lad on the other side. So,
that's true.
Same deal.
That's true. I forgot. That's true.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I mean, you've got Charlize Theron on it. You've got a decent amount of history behind the characters, so I would think they've got some stuff to pull with. And it's doing the second generation. I mean, yes, on the Marvel side you've got Hawkeye, but you're right, there's not that continuity and like small clicks like you see in the Marvel or in the DC family. It's more cross contingent team ups outside of like the X-Men being one big family or whatever.
Sure.
So it's definitely a unique thing that it'd be interesting to see DC lean into and just kind of go into their silos and then every once in a while do a team up movie.
Yeah, I know.
Which
It'd
is
be cool.
Basically what the comics do. So.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, back to this actual story that we're talking about instead of just comics in general. This is going to be based on the young adult graphic novel You Brought Me the Ocean. I should have wrote down who wrote that. I did not. But DC, I think I mentioned this before, DC does a great series of graphic novels for young adults and for kids. So if you are out there and you've got a young kid and you're looking to expose them to comic books, but you go into the comic book store like I do and everything is for like 13 plus or mature and it's bloody and gross or like too sexy or whatever, like look into these DC graphic novels. They're really great. This one's called You Brought Me the Ocean, which details the origins of Jackson Hyde, who's the second Aqualad. And Jackson grows up in the desert town of Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, but kind of always longs to go to the ocean and wants to go to college somewhere near the ocean. Always feels like a connection to the ocean, but he's stuck in the middle of the desert. Jackson develops feelings for the captain of his high school swim team, Kenny Lou, and through his connection with Kenny, begins to discover his Atlantean heritage. The word is that the show will stick pretty close to the plot of the graphic novel. It's said to be a 1-hour dramedy. And there's no writer attached yet. They just announced that it's in development. And this is cool. I mean, you got to think that, I guess neither of the articles that I read came close to even mentioning whether or not Jason Momoa would be showing up as Arthur Curry, Aquaman, in this series. But if I'm HBO Max, I gotta be trying to do that. I feel like he does a cameo at the end of Peacemaker. You can get him for a cameo at the last episode of the Aqualad series. I feel like, right? Like,
yeah, you would think there'd be some tie in there.
You'd think they'd be
easy enough to grab. Oh, absolutely. If you put Aqua on something, you've got to imagine they're going to drop the cash to get Jason Momoa to show up.
Yeah, it's especially now that they may be losing Flash, or like, we got to keep these connections where we got them. Like,
right.
Let's move forward, please. For
the record, that was Alex Sanchez wrote and Julie Merrow illustrated.
Okay, yeah, I haven't read this one, but I've seen the illustrations and they're wonderful. So
yeah, even the cover art just seems like intrigue. It's one of those where you're like, yeah, I might read that.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, check out You Brought Me the Ocean, and be ready for the Aqualad series whenever that drops on HBO Max. And this is exciting to me that there are so many DC series and movies currently in development for HBO Max.
Yeah.
When I was thinking about this story, there's the two, the Penguin and the Arkham Asylum spinoff for the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Green Lantern series that we started hearing casting about, but haven't heard about in a while. But for all intents and purposes, that's still happening. There's still Titans. There's still Doom Patrol. There's still Harley Quinn. And they're also, didn't we talk about a Madame Xanadu series like a long time ago?
Something maybe about Dark Avengers. Like one of them definitely was a series. Yeah. The others were films or something.
Right. There was I thought the Madame Xanadu might have been a film. I don't remember, but like there was a Constantine series or film, a Justice League Dark series or film.
Yep.
And like, even the like Batgirl was supposed to be an HBO Max.
Yeah, not Dark Avengers.
I know what you meant. Same.
You know where my brain goes.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't wait for all this to exist. I'm just really excited. And I hope that it all comes through and they don't have to fire any more of their main cast members. So
yeah, that'd be ideal.
Oh, plus Peacemaker season 2 and whatever other series that James Gunn is doing that he hasn't announced yet.
So what you're saying is this podcast is just going to turn into us not actually running down any news eventually and just having to review all of these.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Or if someone wants to start paying us to do this podcast, we can do reviews more often and we can do episodes more than once a week.
Absolutely.
That'd be cool. So come on, sponsors.
So anyone who's listening, like, subscribe, and get more people listening to us so somebody wants to pay us to do this.
Yeah. Or if you're a millionaire and you like this and you want us to do it more often, throw us that money. We'll
works too.
We'll do it. Ask us, tell us to dance, and we shall dance for you. Ask us to jump. We will.
We're not proud. What the heck?
We're not proud. I'm not too proud to beg to do something I love doing and get paid for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll beg someone to let me do that. Sure. But all right, moving from the DC world into the world of Marvel. Some unfortunate news. I mean,
unfortunate news that we knew that still doesn't make it right.
Yeah. Unfortunate that it hasn't changed since the last time we talked about it.
Exactly.
I should say that. The creator of the character America Chavez apparently was insulted by Marvel's creator compensation offer. What does that mean? I'm about to tell you. Joe Casey, the creator of America Chavez, or co-creator of America Chavez with artist Nick Dragotta, created that character in 2011 for Marvel Comics. America Chavez has appeared in a number of animated TV shows and other media appearances. She's making her first live-action appearance in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness next month. Wow. Mm-hmm. I can't believe it's already happening. You already have your tickets, don't you?
I don't yet.
You don't? Okay. Oh, our friend Matt does. That's right. And apparently tickets were very hard to get for this movie.
Yeah, I got a hunch that 9 a.m. showing I'm going to, it's going to be relatively easy to come by, much like yours. But
yeah. I think so too. I think so too. But obviously, a lot of hype for this movie. I think this movie is going to make a ton of money. I think we know this movie is going to make a ton of money. A lot of hype. We know that Marvel already has a lot of money. But apparently, they still aren't really treating their creators very well when it comes to compensating them for the use of created characters in their movies and television shows.
Yep.
So Joe Casey apparently felt, quote unquote, insulted by Marvel's offer of what is rumored to be around $5,000. Now, that's not directly, we don't know exactly that's what he was offered, but in the past, people that have said what they've been offered by Marvel when their character gets put into a live action film, it's been about $5,000. Now, these are movies that make hundreds of millions of dollars, if not over $1 billion at the box office. As we recently talked about, Ed Brubaker making kind of a big stink about it on the Kevin Smith Fat Man Beyond podcast a while ago. And that has led to, there's been numerous articles since then about how creators are not getting what seems to be not fairly compensated for creating the character and having this character go on to be the basis or star of or integral part of a hundreds of millions to $1 billion franchise. So The quote from Casey is as follows: Marvel has paid me nothing for America Chavez, not only for appearing in the Doctor Strange sequel, but in numerous animated TV episodes, for the numerous action figures they've made of her, for video games she's appeared in, and they seem to be fine with that. The fact is, Marvel owns America Chavez. That's not in dispute on any level. But there are still systematic flaws in the way that creators are neither respected nor rewarded. For me, it's not about money. It's not even about the respect. I would never expect to be respected by a corporation. Going back to what we said earlier about Ezra Miller, I agree with this. Never expect to be respected by a corporation. If I'm in a position where I can afford not to take their insult of an offer and be able to talk about it, then maybe the next guy, where that kind of money could change their life, would get a fair shot of receiving that money. So he's pretty seemingly very insulted by a $5,000 offer. He goes on. He also noted that when Marvel's parent company, Disney, wanted to adapt his series Big Hero 6 into a feature animated film, that they gave him a much better deal. Now, this is directly Marvel he's complaining about, apparently, and not actually Disney, which I think is worth noting. That
that's a big differential. Like, if he created Big Hero 6 and he also created this, and he's getting a quote-unquote much better deal for Big Hero 6, I can only imagine where that's going. Like, I mean, it's a specific Marvel Studios thing apparently now. Like that narrows it down to, it's not because of their corporate overlords. It's just Marvel Studios. Is
Marvel.
The one
it's Marvel Entertainment or Marvel Studios or whatever you want to call it, but it's not Disney. And that's crazier to me, because like Big Hero 6, I think, was a successful film, but I don't know, they haven't made a sequel.
Right.
You know, it's not so successful. It's not a billion-dollar franchise. It's not the most highest grossing franchise of all time, like the MCU is.
By the way, you're mildly wrong.
What am I mildly wrong about?
Big Hero 7's coming out on November 6th, 2022.
Oh, well, good. They made one sequel to the movie, and I hope that they gave him a good amount of a good compensation offer for the sequel as well. But still, I don't think Big Hero 6 and Big Hero 7. Am I going to understand Big Hero 6 if I haven't seen Big Hero 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? That's a joke. They don't exist.
It's the Big Hero saga.
Yeah. You got to think that, okay, those are 2 movies, and he says he got a better offer for those 2 movies than the franchise that is the most highest grossing franchise of all time. And yeah, we don't know America Chavez's fate, but we know it's the MCU, so we're going to see her in with this big blockbuster movie. I'm sure we're going to see her show up again in other things. And it's like Ed Brubaker talking about the Winter Soldier. Like, yeah, he's not, maybe he's not the main character, but he's a big character, and he has become an even bigger character in subsequent appearances. So pay the man. I don't know. What are you doing?
It's crazy. Like, they're going to make more off of just opening weekend. Multiverse of Madness opening weekend in this city is going to make more money alone than what they're giving Ed Brubaker, or giving Joe Casey, who made the character.
Yes.
And they're using all that IP. And yes, I get when you sign on the dotted line, you don't own the character anymore. But like, there's this ethical thing that it needs to be addressed, and I don't know if anyone is. I actually, strangely enough, another podcast network I listen to some from, they have a superhero ethics podcast. I'm gonna actually, now that we're saying this, I'm gonna look into whether or not they've done an episode on the compensation for Marvel, because if not, that'd be a really good topic for them.
That'd be great. I remember, I think it was when we were talking about the Ed Brubaker thing, I remember reading that, of course, it's a problem across the board, but that DC or Warner Brothers pays better than what Marvel. $5,000? I can't. That is an insult. $5,000 is an insult for sure. But I don't know. So I don't know what I don't know how much more Warner Brothers pays, but I'm sure it's not. It's not worthwhile unless you're the families of Bob Kane and Bill Finger and Joel Simon and Schuster. Like that's then you're William Moulton Marston. Like then you're making bank, but like, but those had to be negotiated. Like Stan Lee had to renegotiate his contract because he was getting the short end of the stick. So, this is crazy, and I hope it changes. We were talking. I was trying to remember the other time we talked about it. We talked about it when Hawkeye was on the air, and that they were clearly taking all of the aesthetic from David Aja's art from the
absolutely. Yeah, when the entire intro sequence is literally the cover art from all of your trades, like, what are you doing? Come on, guys.
Kate Bishop's apartment is exactly Clint Barton's apartment from the 100%. Issues. Like, I don't care that it burns down in the second episode or whatever. Like, it's still there. It's still exactly what it was. Yeah. So anyway, speaking of comic book creators, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, for a movie that the entire opening weekend is pretty much selling out everywhere, pay the man his money.
You can afford more than $5,000. That's insane. It's going to make it's going to make $100 million over $100 million opening weekend, hundreds of millions of dollars in days.
Yeah, it'll probably be dead nuts between Batman and No Way Home.
Yeah,
and you can't give the guy more than $5,000.
I know, it's dumb. It's dumb. Anyway, speaking of comic book creators and all their hard work, we're talking about some comics right now. We actually got some good, cool comic stories. Well, cool, but one is another unfortunate mark against Marvel. Marvel, what are you doing? You're not paying your people, and you're canceling Eisner-winning series. Marvel has surprisingly canceled Kelly Thompson's run on Black Widow. This is an Eisner Award-winning book that just abruptly ended after its 15th issue. And apparently the 15th issue? Wow. 15th issue is the end of a story arc, but it now apparently is the end of the entire run.
Right.
Kelly Thompson was quoted as saying, "This is a book." I guess she announced this in her Substack newsletter. Said, "This is a book I love so much. Maybe my favorite book I've ever done at Marvel. But there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes, and it's not always something you can talk about publicly. To be honest, I still can't talk about as much as I'd like, but there are plans for a bit more story from this creative team. Things are still being wrangled, but I'm optimistic it will work out and be worth the wait."
It doesn't give me that warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, that quote tells me that it's not her choice to end the book, and it's not that someone on the creative team is walking or leaving. It tells me it's a Marvel choice.
Yeah.
Why does Marvel cancel this book? Is it just sales? But I don't think this was a book that wasn't selling well.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, it seems weird to not have an ongoing. I mean, they haven't for a while, but like, what's the point of canceling it after one arc? Like, the sales can't be that bad on it.
Yeah, it won an Eisner.
Right.
like
how do you do that? I mean,
like, people like this book. This is like a critically acclaimed book. Like, even if I feel like maybe it's not your number one seller, maybe it's not, Spider-Man or whatever, but I feel like you got to keep the critical darlings around, otherwise people are going to jump. I guess, I don't know. Don't you want people writing good things about your books that you're putting out?
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's one thing if it was, I don't know, the Eisner thing really still blows my mind. Like, how you go from that to getting canceled after 15 issues. And that, I mean, like she said, it may be something that's behind the scenes, and it may be, quote unquote creative differences or whatever, or, contract stuff, or who knows what it could be, but it's still just a weird look. Like, I mean,
I know.
It's not like Kelly Thompson's a rookie at this either. Like, she's been writing stuff for a good bit, and like the Rogan Gambit stuff, Mr. and Mrs. X, like I think she had a run on Captain Marvel, among other things. I'm sure there's plenty of things that I haven't read that are right at the forefront, but yeah, it's just weird to see. I mean, and you hate to see it. You hate to see any artist or any artist in the colloquial term, get get their work pulled out from under them. But I'm sure she'll land on her feet somewhere because she's that talented.
Yeah. The way she says a little bit of story makes me think that they're saying like, just give us like a one shot to wrap everything up,
Right. Like
so
an
I feel
annual
like
or something to
tie a bow on. I feel like that's probably what it's going to be. I can't see if they're canceling the run. I can't imagine them seeming like, take another 5 issues. I feel like it's going to be like a one shot. So we'll see. That's a bummer. I mean, I was planning on collecting the trade of this, so if they're done with their arc, then it's probably closer to be coming out in trade. So I'm excited to read that. I remember I read like the first 2 issues. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
But then just had to drop it. So I'm pumped to finally read it, but I'm bummed that it's finite. It won't be there. But moving from Marvel to DC, DC has launched the second year of its DC Round Robin tournament. This is a tournament online where fans can vote on a series of pitches for characters, creative teams, and it's one pitch pitted against each other. They move on to different rounds, and by the end of the thing, there's a one winner, and that winner gets published. I feel like there's some like mixed reactions to this, just the idea of this, pitting creative teams or creative pitches against each other, creating creating conflict when it should just be like hey, let's all make cool, fun comic stuff. But also it's kind of fun at the same time, I
mean, is it one of those where sometimes like, DC, they'll throw this all out there and then DC maybe down the road picks up like 1 or 2 of the other ideas?
Well, that's what they're saying this year. Last year, that was not the case. Last year's winner was the Robins book. It's like a team-up book of Nightwing. I don't think Tim Drake's even in it. I think it's Nightwing, Red Hood, Spoiler, and Damian. Maybe Tim's in it. I don't remember. I only read a couple of issues because I didn't think it was very good. But they're saying that this year, the winner will get made, and maybe a couple other popular ones might actually squeak by as well. So there were some super cool pitches on there. It's fun. You just get to read like a little elevator pitch and be like, do I want a cool Constantine book or a cool Flash book? Which, right. It's kind of hard to make that choice. Because all the pitches are very cool. But you can vote if you want. They post, I think round 2 just closed, so we're probably moving into the Elite 8, I believe. Or actually maybe the Final 4. I don't remember how many they started with. So
nice.
Probably will be coming up this week. You can find it on like DC's social media if you follow them online, or you can vote through the DCU Infinite app. So check that out if you want to vote for the next DC book to be published. And finally, in comics news, a copy of Captain America #1 has recently sold at auction for, Steve, how much do you think it sold for?
Oh God, graded? we talking like what quality are we talking here? Just exists or?
We're talking near mint condition.
I'd go at least 6 figures.
Yes, but you gotta get closer than that.
300K.
A issue of Captain America #1 has sold at auction for a record-setting $3.1 million.
Wow.
Yes, that puts it in the range of Action Comics #1 that also routinely sells for over $3 million. It started.
Sorry, behind the scenes, folks. I started breaking out laughing because I just tabbed over to our show notes page, and it's literally written right there the same amount as Action #1.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, but you might not know that off your head. Yeah. So the bidding for this started at 1.8 million.
Wow.
And quickly escalated. A bidding war broke out. So this is definitely the highest that this issue has ever sold for. I feel like Action #1 routinely goes for over $3 million. And I think the Detective 27's appearance of Batman, I don't know if it's ever gotten 3, but it's like up there. It's like over 2 for sure. So I think this has now jumped to maybe top 3 most expensive comic issues of all time. Because now that's like setting the new precedent for people paying for that book, so that's going to be the new number, I feel like.
I would pay a lot for a picture of Captain America punching Hitler, but I don't think I'd pay that much, mostly because I don't have that much. But, that's kind of crazy that Cap is now in the same, the same stratosphere as Superman.
It's not, I mean, it's crazy just because it hasn't been there for a while, but like that book came out, 1940s?
41,
because he's punching Hitler on the face. So it's only a couple years after Batman and Superman came out, 38, 39.
Yeah.
So,
what year? Oh, yeah, okay. No, it's about a decade between that and like Amazing Fantasy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, Amazing Fantasy was 60s though, wasn't it?
Was it early 60s?
So over a decade, I think. Yeah. I think Marvel got hopping in the 60s with Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. So, yeah. So it's right around the same time. So as far as like age, you would think it would be, but I don't know. It's certainly cool. I'm always blown away that comics go for that amount. I don't remember. Did I say this on this show that I saw that somebody was selling? I think I saw it on Twitter. Someone was selling a torn back page of Detective Comics number 27. It was not the full book. It was the back cover.
Yeah.
And it had a huge tear out of it, like a huge, like, looked like someone just tore a chunk out of it. And it was going for like $8,000 or something like that. Like,
this is a piece of paper from this book.
Yeah.
Give me
it's
money.
not the book. Batman's not even on it anywhere. But it's still over $8,000. And at first I was like, that's insane. And I was like, I'd kind of like to own that still. It'd be kind of cool to own a piece of Detective Comics 27. That'd be cool. Yep. Just a little piece. Anyway, this week in comic book stores, we got A Town Called Terror, number 1. I don't know what that is, but it just sounds super cool. Batgirls, number 5. Batman 89, number 5. Very excited to finally get back into Batman 89. Batman Catwoman 11. Black Panther, number 5. DC Horror Presents Soul Plumber, number 6. Elektra, number 100. We got up to 100 issues of Elektra. Wow. That's super cool.
That's awesome.
And I thought that was strange because I thought that Elektra was like starring in the Daredevil book, and so I don't know if there's been an Elektra book at the same time. I don't know. I haven't been following it, so who knows? But it caught me off guard. Still cool when a book gets to 100 issues. Farmhand 16, Green Lantern number 12, Human Remains number 7, The Last Book You'll Ever Read number 7. I bought issue 1 of that, and it's still sitting unread on my bedside table. Miles Morales Spider-Man number 37, Radio Spaceman number 2. I have never heard of that before, but I love that title. It makes me want to buy it. Sandman Universe Nightmare Country number 1, Star Wars Darth Vader number 22, Superman Son of Kal-El number 10, Wonder Woman 786, and X-Men 92 number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I forgot to put it on my pull list, so I'm getting there early on Wednesday.
You better get there. That, of course, is an X-Men book in the continuity, I think it's in the continuity, or at least in the style of the 1992 animated series.
Yep.
X-Men.
So that'll be, I can't wait for that. So the new one is, I think it's just going to be a limited run, which.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, that makes sense. Episodes or how many issues? I'm thinking about the animated series of like.
Oh yeah.
But it's like I think it's kind of a whetting the appetite for the return of the animated series next year.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
This is kind of a nod.
Yeah,
which
I agree.
I can't complain about. It's funny because I went back and watched some of the animated series because it's on Disney Plus now.
Yeah,
it still holds up.
Really,
does it? It's still fun.
Okay. I should watch it again because my memories of it, even watching it as a kid, I thought like, wow, this is really over dramatic.
Oh yeah.
Just
it is
saccharine. Yeah. So I should really revisit it. I think it makes sense that it's a limited series, especially because we know that they are picking up the continuity with the show. But even without that, you don't want to step on the toes of whatever the people are doing with the actual series. So good to kind of keep it short. And then if they can spin off and do other things in the future, great. But that's the same way they did with Superman 78 and Batman 89. Batman 89 is only 6 issues, like a 6-issue miniseries, which is great.
I just pulled up some random art from it, and there's just about 3/4 page panel of Wolverine slashing a Sentinel apart, and it's just the greatest thing ever.
Awesome.
The 90s X-Men nerd in me is just happy. Yeah, man. It's just smile on my face right now. I'm good.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that'll be fun. All right. That's all we got for comics. Moving on into one-shots. And oh, by the way, I should have said this at the beginning. After one-shots, we will be doing a Moon Knight episode 2 rundown, so stick around for that. But anyway, one-shots, as we've mentioned several times in this podcast fairly recently, it is a great time to be a Star Trek fan. Just found out that the cast of Star Trek The Next Generation will be reuniting in Season 3 of Star Trek Pickard. This is big news. This reunion includes LeVar Burton returning as Geordi LaForge, Jonathan Frakes coming back as William Riker, Marina Sirtis coming back as Deanna Troi, Brent Spiner as Data, Michael Dorn as Worf, and Gates McFadden as Dr. Beverly Crusher, all returning for Season 3. Now, I know that I think Jonathan Frakes has come back as Riker. I think Brent Spiner has done a couple appearances as Data, and maybe Marina Sirtis as Deanna Troi, I believe. But but not for the whole series. I think they've just done some cameo stuff, but this is awesome.
So they're all coming back.
Yeah.
You've got Dr. Crusher coming back. Does that mean Will Wheaton's going to show up as Wesley?
I'm surprised that he wasn't part of this. When I wrote down, I was like, oh yeah, Beverly Crusher. What happened to Will Wheaton?
Yep.
What's going on? I don't know what happened to his character.
No, no idea.
Around or canonically, but who knows?
If he's not, rest in peace. But
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's intriguing to see all of them coming back, and like you said, if it's going to be for more than just a one episode, they show up and it's like, oh hey, how we doing? It'll be cool to see, LeVar Burton back in the visor, if you will.
Yeah, I always loved Geordi LaForge because pretty much just because of the way he looked. I just thought that was a super cool look, and
then my mind was blown when I found out he was the Reading Rainbow guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I knew the Reading Rainbow before I saw him, and I thought that was like the first time I can remember being like, "Oh, that's the same guy that does this. You can do two things." Like, how's that possible?
It was that was kind of the same thing where I was like, I remembered reading Rainbow, and then saw that and didn't put it together, and somebody told me that, and I was like, wait, what?
Oh, okay, yeah. It was mind blowing.
Yeah,
and just like writing down these names kind of like really jogged my memory that I watched a lot of Star Trek The Next Generation when I was a kid.
Much more than I remembered until, like you said, you start thinking about it and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
That was on syndication all the time.
Yeah, when I started picturing like Geordi LaForge and Data and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, I watched the shit out of this show. And it's weird how little of it I retained.
Right.
But besides like characters and what they look like, but I don't remember like plots or cliffhangers or, anything. Really.
No, not at all.
But anyway, like we keep saying, great time to be a Star Trek fan. Congratulations to all you Trekkies out there. You're just getting the goods after goods after goods.
Absolutely. Another congratulations goes out to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We've talked about James Gunn a couple times on the podcast already. We're going to talk about him again because his movie has led to the world record for prosthetics, the most makeup appliances created for a single production. I don't know what that means. I don't know what to expect from it, but it's awesome.
It is awesome. It means there's a lot of cool looking aliens and stuff in this movie, which I am excited about.
Yep. And apparently it beat Jim Carrey's The Grinch as the record holder. So
previous record holder, Jim Carrey's Grinch movie. Wow. I can see that. Everyone in that movie looked weird, had a weird squished face with a turned up nose. So that makes sense. I gotta say, I like James Gunn as a director for a lot of reasons. One of them being his dedication to physical prosthetics and makeup instead of just like, we're just gonna CGI that dude's face, or which is very easy to do, but you can always tell.
Yeah.
So I don't know. When we were talking about the Oscars, when we were talking about the Spider-Man No Way Home losing the effects Oscar to Dune, and I said like it's like cartoon, it's like still cartoony, it's cartoon good.
Yep.
Like it looks good, but you can tell it's not real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's how I feel like a lot of superhero stuff is when they do like let's just CGI an alien It's like that's that kind of thing. Like, yeah, it looks good, but you can tell it's not real. But if you like put some makeup and a mask on a guy or something, then it's like, oh, that looks like a real alien. I don't know. It's like, what if they just made Colin Farrell look old in the Batman instead of doing amazing makeup on him where he's completely unrecognizable? You know, like that's a big difference.
Yeah, where he no longer looks like Colin Farrell.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. As a bit of a nothing story as this is, it does make me excited for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Another short story, we got Spotify's Batman Unburied podcast, which we talked about a really long time ago when it was announced. Finally going to drop on Spotify on May 3rd. This stars Winston Duke as Batman Bruce Wayne, Gina Rodriguez as Barbara Gordon, Hassan Minaj as the Riddler, and John Rhys Davies as a character named Dr. Hunter. It was written by David S. Goyer, who has written a lot of Batman things, including co-writing the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. Co-wrote Man of Steel, and I think co-wrote Batman vs. Superman. So like he's no slouch with the Batman character. And yeah, super cool colorblind cast. It imagines Bruce Wayne as a forensic pathologist, which is very brand new for his character. So taking some cool leaps right there. They also released a little teaser, so you can go, check that out on Spotify, kind of hear what you're in for. And I gotta say, as much as this is exciting and sounds cool, I probably won't listen to it because I have so many other podcasts that I love that I listen to. I do not have time for anything else. But if you listen to it, let me know how it is.
Yeah. And I'm not driving nearly as much as I used to, so I don't have the same time I used to when I was blowing through Sandman like it was my job.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And now it's just like, okay, I got to find some time. But if you've got M'Baku as Bruce Wayne and Batman, and you've got Jane the Virgin as Barbara Gordon, and Gimli as Dr. Hunter, and Hassan Minaj just doing Hassan Minaj things.
Yeah.
Like Hassan Minaj, I feel like will be a very I really want to watch or listen to this just for his take on Joker. Because his normal humor is very
Riddler.
Well, but yeah. even you point stands. Like his humor and how he portrays himself in anything you see him is very specific. So I'll be curious what he does to take on that persona.
I recognized his voice in the teaser that I listened to, and he sounded pretty intense. It was cool. I liked it. And also, if you wanted a nerd reference for the cast, as you seemingly were doing, you could have said Gina Rodriguez is also Crazy Jane in Doom Patrol.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I never put two together there?
I don't know.
Like, my wife watched every episode of Jane the Virgin, so that's what came to mind. So, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
She's great.
Even better.
Very talented actress.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, if I didn't listen to all the Marvel podcasts that have come out in the last year, then I'm not going to listen to this one either. I would love to, but I just don't have time to listen to all of them.
I cut the Wolverines and the Old Man Star-Lord. Old Man Star-Lord was
you did?
Intriguing. Like very they played off the Rocket and Quill thing very, very well.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is post-apocalyptic. Doom takes over everything, and they do it well. I would listen again if I had the amount of time. And again, this was in that era of I could listen to 10 hour-long episodes because I'm going 5 hours at a crack. So now I'm doing less of that. So it's gonna be a little tighter to grab those.
Yeah, same, man. Like a year ago, I was in a different position at my job where I could just put my head down and do not mindless work, but work where I could also pay attention to somebody talking to me.
Yep.
Now I do not have that position anymore. I mean, fortunately, because it's a better job for me, but also I'm just dragging on all my podcasts, man. I got season 2 of Sandman just downloaded, just sitting there. I haven't even cracked it.
Same here. So we'll see how it goes. But
anyway, I gotta say, I will say I am over the moon happy that they're doing more like comic superhero podcast adaptations. I think it's such a cool idea and such a way to get people involved, a new way to involve the characters and a new medium to explore the characters. I think that's awesome. I just don't have time to listen to all of them. Maybe someday.
Yeah, no, that'll be. We're hitting the golden age of that, you know, because we need more golden ages of comic content.
I know. Jesus.
It's not like it's being thrown at us everywhere. So
yeah, the last 15 years has been the golden age of comic book movies.
Seriously. So speaking of directly into our final one shot, and we're going to end on a happy note. Speaking of comic book movies, there have been early screeners of the forthcoming Thor Love and Thunder. Since I said it was happy, the lead has been officially not buried. All of them have been very positive. So anything that we're gonna, see moving forward seems to be tinted with positive glasses at this point. What do you got?
No, you go. You can go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know how you can find a way to screw up the return of Jane Foster, taking on the helmet and Mjolnir, as well as Gore the God Butcher, and find a way to not make that a positive movie.
Are you serious? There's tons of ways to screw that up.
Not when you have Taika Waititi at the helm.
Didn't you see Spider-Man 3?
Yes, but Taika did not direct that.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's happened. I'm just saying it's happened. Taika Waititi has a very golden record, but
yeah, and I'm apparently diving into tomorrow the oh god, what's the name of his pirate series on HBO? Have you not heard of this?
I think Blackbeard? Is he?
No, he plays the Blackbeard type character, but it's
I've heard of it. Yeah,
something about the flags.
Oh yes. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that was his series.
Yeah. He. I just googled Taika Waititi pirate show. Our flag means death.
Yes. Yeah.
And right, apparently it's pretty solid. So
I'm sure it is. I still have to do. I want to watch What We Do in the Shadows, the series, because I keep hearing that's incredible, and that movie was incredible. So
I was gonna say the same thing. I saw the movie, I haven't seen the series, so yeah. That's I'm looking forward to it. Apparently, Christian Nairn is in Our Flag Means Death as well. Hodor.
Oh, cool.
So
nice. So yeah, I mean, it's cool that we got some early positive thoughts. You gotta think that we're gonna get a trailer for this pretty soon. Doesn't it come out this summer?
We are officially at the shortest time prior to a debut of a movie that the trailer. So it's the
like
longest
a Marvel movie,
longest for a Marvel movie that they've gone before releasing a trailer prior to release.
Wow.
So I don't know if they're just trying to not eat into the Multiverse of Madness hype, or
I think that's probably what it is. But you know what? I feel like there's a good chance the post-credit scene for Multiverse of Madness is going to be Thor Love and Thunder related, and then we'll get a trailer shortly after.
Yeah, well, and it might be something where Thor Love and Thunder needs to be set up by Multiverse of Madness.
Right. Similar, it could be a Spider-Man No Way Home thing where the post-credit scene is just a trailer,
right,
for the movie. But speaking of that, I have to say, wow, what am I going to do? Okay, I'll make an announcement. I am going to try to not watch any trailers for Thor Love and Thunder. That's a thing that I'm going to try to do because I want to have an experience that I haven't had in a very long time, which is going into a movie knowing next to nothing about it, having seen very little about it. This is a movie that I'm pretty sure I'm going to love because of the aforementioned Taika Waititi and his success with Ragnarok. So I'm going to try to not watch any trailers. It doesn't mean that the Multiverse Report won't do any trailer recaps or reactions, but it'll be, a solo jam.
When anything comes out, provided it's not Mike accidentally having to watch it as the post credits for No Way or for
I was going to say
Madness.
Yeah, that might be the only. If I go to a theater to see the Multiverse of Madness and it plays as the post-credit scene, I'll probably watch it.
Right. I mean, you're not gonna shield your eyes and run out of the theater.
I'm not gonna run out of the theater. Yeah. So if that's the case, then I'll see it. But I will not. I will not knowingly click on any trailers for Thor: Love and Thunder, or I will. At least that's my goal. I'm gonna try not to. I may fail because I'm sure the reactions to these trailers are gonna be very positive. And
absolutely. And we'll end up. The premise came up a while back, and Mike's going to try it for this. And if he can pull it off, I will try it for something later in the run. So we're going to see how it works, just to workshop something here.
Yeah, because then like I get to go in and see the movie and all the big glamour, gorgeous, beautiful splash page shots that you got in the trailer, I'll be seeing for the first time and my mind will be blown, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that is all we got for normal multiverse talk. We're going to do a quick wrap up talk about Moon Knight episode 2. So if you have not seen Moon Knight episode 2, you don't want any spoilers, it's time for you to go. Goodbye. Yep. Thank you for listening.
And before you leave, make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on Twitch if you're watching. If you're not watching, you should watch us. If you are watching, thank you. If you want to find anything on the Multiverse Report, check out themultiversereport.com, Multiverse Report on any of the socials, Multiverse RPT on Twitter. Feel free to send us an email if you've got any questions to themultiversereport@gmail.com. I'm just going to keep saying the Multiverse Report. If you send us something on email, there's a good chance we'll answer your question on air. So give us a jingle
absolutely.
And we'll go from there.
I would love to be able to do like a mailbag episode or something, or like end each episode with some questions. So like send us questions. What do we think about this? Who would win in this fight? What movie is better than what movie? Ranking whatever movies. Like ask us those questions. I would love to do that. I would love that.
Send us down the rabbit hole. It's not like we don't go there anyways.
Or ask us live if you're ever watching us live on Twitch or anything. Send us some questions. I know we don't have a huge audience on Twitch, but you know, if anyone's there, shout us out. Anyway, bye, non-Moon Knight people.
We got 8 people listening to us right now. We might as well, you know.
Do we really?
Solicit things from viewers.
Hello, 8 people. Feel free to tell us what you thought about Moon Knight as we talk about it. Moon Knight episode 2. All right, Moon Knight. First, I want to start by saying something I forgot to say about episode 1, because basically we just talked about how much we liked episode 1.
Yes.
But I did want to say that I thought the CGI in episode 1 was a little dodgy at some point, specifically when he's driving through the Alps. You could really tell that the background was green screened. There's a scene where like some logs crashed down.
The logs are what did it for me.
Yeah, I described it to someone else as being the effects being CW good. Like if this was on Arrow or something, I'd be like, well, it looks great for the CW. But it's not. It's on Disney Plus and it's an MCU show. So I expected a little bit more. But I did not feel that way in episode 2. Nothing really was glaringly CW-y as far as CGI in episode 2.
Yeah, no, it was a solid CGI fest all around there.
Yeah. And Steve, you were very interested in who Layla was last week. Now you know.
Yeah, no one.
Possibly? No one?
Well, I mean, as far as from comic continuity.
No current character or existing character, yes. Seemingly a new character to the Moon Knight mythos, possibly ex-wife or... No, current wife, because they're not divorced yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
So...
Interesting.
Yeah, no, she apparently knows multiple personalities or personas of Mark. It seems, judging by the fact that she asked Steven if he was another alias. So
yeah, I want to know more about her because she knows a lot more about Mark/Steven or Moon Knight in general than we do, than he does, than Steven does. I want to know how much she knows and why she knows it and how. Yeah, because but also it seemed like this was the first time she had encountered an actual persona, like a new personality. Because she asked if it was an alias, but she kept saying to drop the accent. You can drop the accent. It's fine. You can stop doing that. So she seemed thrown by the fact that it was like an actual second personality instead of an alias or a disguise or something.
Right. And I'm curious. I mean, we still don't know if we're going to meet Jake at any point during this. And whether or not he's close enough to Mark where she wouldn't realize it's 2 separate people type thing, or 2 separate personalities. Again, and for anyone, I apologize for myself, and I'd assume Mike if we screw up anything referencing DID, because it is a very serious situation, but we're not really don't particularly know exactly how to address things. So if there's ever anything you hear, please let us know that it's not appropriate or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's been some backlash against the show for that. and that is a serious thing. But I don't know. I don't know. I think Marvel wanted to make this show more than they wanted to acknowledge the realities of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think I've heard from, and again, I don't know how informed anybody I've been reading stuff from, but I've heard that gets better over the course of the show, that it's a little more jarring at present, but yeah, it's definitely there's two distinctly different people in the body of Mark Spector / Stephen Grant.
Yeah, and again, big kudos to Oscar Isaac's acting ability. He's just crushing this so far.
Absolutely. And to be able to, think of the scene where, the scene where Mr. Knight ultimately shows up. Yeah. Where you have him literally acting against himself in an action scene where nobody else is supposed to be able to see the things that he can see. Yeah. And he is now activating the suit, putting on the suit, and he shows up as Mr. Knight. Now, comics bros will be furious as to the how they're portraying Mr. Knight compared to what he was in comics, but I kind of love what they did with it. Like, it's pretty well.
I'm not as familiar with the character in the comic books. Clearly, definitely not as much as you are. I thought it was great. I thought, like, they said, it's like, where's the suit? Oh, what are you wearing? And he's like, well, you said I needed a suit. So, like, he just thought of, like, an actual, like, a nice suit. Like, that tracks with their version of the Stephen Grant persona, Stephen Grant character. Someone who doesn't understand what's happening, but you say suit, this is what I think of. So bam, like it makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
From that standpoint, I understand that it's not quite what people are used to from the comic books, and people are upset about that. I'm not. I think it's great. I don't know. No, I like it a lot.
And I did love that Layla definitely knew about the suit.
Yes. Yeah. She knows about Moon Knight.
Right. She knows Mark is Moon Knight.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm interested to learn is if the whole personalities thing has happened since the last time he has seen Layla, because Layla doesn't know that there are personalities. She knows that there are aliases. What happened to cause the splintering of the Mark Spector personality? You know what I mean?
Right. And that, they address it at one point with Mark actually addresses it to Steven he said something along the lines of it was easy, like it used to be easy to go back and forth, and now whoever's in control is stronger. And I think that might be part of the like what Layla's referencing, aliases versus different personalities, where Mark is controlling the body versus Steven. Right. Instead of them all kind of coexisting and coming in and out or whatever, or being able to push forward. And it's an interesting take on it. I'm curious where they'll go with it and what that leads to down the road. And it seems like, I guess it was kind of confusing because of Harrow's reaction. Like, Harrow seems to know about what's going on, kind of.
Yes. Yeah, he knows about Moon Knight too.
Yeah. Well, he knows about Mark, he knows about Steven, and he knows about Moon Knight.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
And he also knows that Layla is next in line from Khonshu, and he was the predecessor. So it's a weird.
Oh, you're right. I forgot that he said that.
Yeah, like he seems to know he knows a lot more than Steven does.
Yeah, I like Ethan Hawke's character quite a bit. I think they're doing a lot of good by him as far as like introducing him as a character. Clearly he's being set up to be the bad guy, but like you're kind of questioning, like, is he wrong? Is he right? It seems like he's doing some good here.
He plays that cult leader to a T.
Yeah, exactly. They're doing a lot of good with that character, which I like a lot. And I forgot completely that he said that he was a former, uh, not he didn't say
Avatar.
slave, like avatar for Khonshu. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's cool. I think this show is great, and if it keeps doing what it is doing, then I will enjoy how it's a new story that starts in the middle of something that's already happening,
Mm-hmm.
and we're getting progression on that storyline as well as background on the characters, and ultimately probably an origin through flashbacks or stories or whatever at the same time. And I think
Right.
that's great. I wish more. I mean, it's hard to do that in a movie, I guess, to the same effect or to the same level of detail. But we get 6 hours of a TV show, so they can kind of take their time and show us those details. But I kind of wish more things were like that, where it just like threw you in and you're like that's what I said last time. It's a cool perspective where you're learning about it at the same time as Steven is learning about it, which I think is what makes the show really strong. You're not the audience isn't the only one in the dark. You're identifying with the main character because he also doesn't know what's going on.
Right. It's not an origin story, but it's not throwing us in like Spider-Man Homecoming did, where it was like right into it. You're learning, but you're not learning like, we're not at the tomb where he got laid out before, or the temple where he got laid out before Khonshu, and seeing all that. It's like, although I don't know, we're in Egypt now, so
excited about that. I like that.
We might see a flashback of that.
Yeah, and now Mark is in control.
Yep.
Now
what gave it away? The basically Apocalypse Now framing of that whole last scene.
Yeah. That was cool. They said basically like, so they can. I mean, it's clear he can appear. The other personality can appear in any reflective surface, because I think there was like a bowl at one point that he's using to communicate. I think that's cool. Why are the monsters not visible to other people?
I don't know.
That seems strange.
So the Lemire run, the jackals were able to put on human guys in Mark's mind, so they appeared as human, and actually the two. It's funny, the two police officers that were actually cult members that ended up arresting him and bringing him to Harrow were the two they were credited as the same names as two of the of Amit's Amit's jackals that did the same thing in the Lemire run. So they're definitely cool. taking a lot from that run. That's awesome. So it's going to be interesting to see where it ultimately goes with that, and whether it follows. It'd be tough for it to follow where that run went, just because of where it is now and what happened ultimately in that run. But I like that they're plucking pieces as they need them from it.
Yeah, for sure. That's what Marvel does best. It takes the best of whatever run they need and streamline it a little bit.
Well, and they took something like Harrow appeared in, I think, literally one Moon Knight
one issue. Yes. Yeah, which I think is great, because there's no expectations for that character at all.
And Ethan Hawke can just do his thing, which is making it even better.
Yep. Wide open for interpretation. Also, I mean, it's not like Moon Knight is an A-list character, so it's not like he has A-list rogues gallery or anything like that.
Right.
So really, probably any specific Moon Knight villain isn't going to rock the boat too much if you take some different swings in it. But I really like what they're doing with Ethan Hawke. Have you heard about the QR code thing that I just read about tonight? Apparently, in both episode 1 and episode 2, there is a scene where there's a QR code in the background. I think one is in the beginning when Stephen Grant is talking to a little girl in the museum about a mummy or something.
Oh yeah, when he's explaining that whole thing to her.
Yep. And then in episode 2, there's one that's on a storage facility door when he goes to that storage facility and finds all that stuff. Oh, that was cool. I forgot about that scene really until
it was great. With the lights going in and out and Khonshu and
yeah. It's a classic thing to like he's being led by the guy that works at that facility to the storage facility or storage locker or whatever. as they're walking down, the lights are turning on as they're walking down, and there was this big ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk for every light, and I'm like, okay, are these motion sensor giant lights?
Yeah.
The ka-chunk makes me think you're like throwing a giant like Frankenstein switch for every single one.
Yeah.
Ka-chunk, ka-chunk. And like, who is watching them and timing all of these switches as they walk down the aisle? Like, yo, man, there should just be one and they all go on at the same time. Who designed the electricity in this room? This is terribly designed.
Designed specifically for drama.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was funny. Anyway, the QR code thing, if you pause it and if you scan those QR codes with your phone, they actually work, and they take you, in the first episode, if you scan it, it takes you to a digital copy of Werewolf by Night number 32, the first appearance of Moon Knight. Yes. And the second one is the following is Werewolf by Night 33. Like, so it's like the story. Yeah. So that is crazy cool.
Now I've got to go back and do that because
I know I want to do that too.
And my Marvel Unlimited is currently lapsed until I catch up on some other things. So I now have a couple, more things to put on the pile.
Yeah, I love this. I hope they keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I think they should do it in literally every superhero show, movie. Like, can you imagine if like the credits of a movie are going and just a giant QR code shows up so you can like scan it real quick and it takes you to a comic book?
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Why haven't they done this before?
Why haven't they done this before? This is a genius idea. Moon Knight, keep doing it, please. Keep doing
it.
And yeah, I don't know. That's all. I feel like I watched this one on Wednesday night. I feel like I should wait until closer to we're doing this podcast so I can like remember more of it, because I feel like I forgot a bunch of it. But
see, and that was my thing that helped out with a couple of the other things we've done over the course, like Hawkeye. Like I would watch it as soon as it came out, and then my wife would want to watch it on like Saturday night or something. So I'd be refreshed by. So I'd still, get it so that I'm not spoiled by the rest of the interwebs, and then I'd be able to watch it again. But my wife has no interest whatsoever in Moon Knight, so.
Bummer.
Here I am.
Here you are with me.
6 o'clock on Wednesday mornings because I'm up. So why not?
Oof. That's a good way to start your day, I guess.
Yeah, I can think of worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Coffee and a Moon Knight?
That's all I got. Yeah, that's all I got, man. Unless you got anything else, or let's the Twitch people have any questions for us about Moon Knight, but it seems like they don't.
Nope. No, nothing from the folks listening or watching, and
well, thank you for listening and watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, like Steve said earlier, like us, subscribe to us, email us, question us through any variety. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter and all these things. Throw us questions there. You can email us. You can find us at the website multiversereport.com. Gmail, email questions, send us questions live, watch us live, listen live via Twitch, YouTube comments, all these kinds of things. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you want to hear. Ask us crazy questions.
Tell us what you don't want to hear.
Tell us what you don't want to hear. Tell us what you hate, and we'll keep doing that even more. But yeah, well, if that's all I got, if that's all Steve's got, thanks for watching and thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time in the multiverse.